Hi, this is Dr. Harris Jensen with video 4 and how to boost those grades in high school and college. I'm going over battle-tested, tough, time-honored strategies that worked for me, and they've worked for hundreds of my patients over the last 25 years. I'm a psychiatrist in private practice in Fort Collins, Colorado, where I see lots of college and high school students who come to me because their grades are down and they don't know what to do. They've talked to parents, they've talked to school counselors, they've talked to teachers and friends, and like they don't know what's going on. Obviously, it's a big deal. If you don't succeed in school, you still can succeed in life, but it nowadays gets more and more difficult. There's more and more demands to do more with information processing. Uh, and so if you can't keep up with that, then you might get stuck with a lower paying job. If you do have sophisticated thinking skills from years of work in high school and a trade, such as plumbing, HVAC, or college, then you just have a lot better chance to succeed and maybe one day be able to support a family, have financial independence. So there's a lot on the line. There's a big payoff for taking an interest in how to get good grades. And in lecture 1, I went over how to stay focused. Good attention is key. And secondly, in video 2, how to say no to addictions that can waste your time and sap your mental energy. Video 3 was study skills, uh, different ways of learning for different situations are really key. Some strategies work for some kind of information or class, and other strategies work better for another class. It's important to know what are the skills you have to choose from. You might be doing all that and still grades get lower. So what could be the cause of that? Number one, uh, so these are daily habits. You might be staying up too late. If you go to sleep at about midnight, you're not going to have good quality sleep. And quality sleep is when the brain makes dopamine for alertness, serotonin for good mood, GABA to say no to anxiety, and acetylcholine for consolidating memory. The things you learn during the day, you would normally forget at night, and you'd have to start all over the next day. But memory is consolidated during these 4 different stages of sleep that repeat themselves during high quality sleep for 7 or 8 hours a night. But that doesn't happen if you stay up too late. High quality sleep is from about 11 at night to 6 in the morning. If you're staying up later till midnight and hoping you can sleep in till 9 or 10, it won't work. And I tried that in med school and I saw my grades drop. Like, I can't do that. Um, so a daily habit of getting to sleep by 10 or 10:30 every night, get up about 6:30, boom. It's going to be good for your grades because your brain can make all those good chemicals. Secondly, uh, eating healthy. So if I ate junk food, drank too much caffeine, I'd see my grades go down. And so it really does work that way. Have that high protein, healthy diet with fresh uh, fish, steak, salmon, uh, and lots of fruits and veggies and lower amounts of carbs. And now your brain is getting the nutrition it needs. It can't store vitamin A through Z. It can't store blood sugar. It can't store healthy fats. Uh, it is a slave to the bloodstream to get those every day. And so, if you want your brain to have good production, you got to feed it. Feed it the good stuff so it can be productive for you. And definitely, I have had patients who, when they used junk food, fast food, lots of sugar, their attention dropped, their motivation dropped, and that's a big deal. Next is exercise. So, may not seem intuitive, but when you exercise, that means getting your heart rate up to 100, which can happen from a real brisk walk, for at least 10 or 15 minutes a day. That could be biking, a brisk walk, jogging. Now, what happens in the brain is, and I go over this in my book, Prescription for Positivity, with some really good illustrations. It triggers the release of 4 kinds of nerve growth factor in the brain and 1 kind of nerve growth factor in the periphery of the body. What does nerve growth factor do? Well, number 1, without it, nerves start to die. With it, nerves can repair themselves. They have to do that every day. And thirdly, nerve growth factor, like high quality sleep, tells the nerves to grow more of the chemicals they need. Chemicals such as dopamine for attention and motivation, kind of need that, right? And serotonin for a good mood and to resist the tendency for overthinking. So people who don't exercise, don't get good quality sleep, often say, gosh, why am I overthinking about all this stuff that doesn't make any sense? The past, the future, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, and often that tendency is diminished when they get that exercise in and get to sleep on time. I sound like I'm some person telling you how to live your life, but I'm just letting you know how the brain works so you can work with it. And you don't have to believe me. You can test these things out and see in your own experience. Eat a bunch of junk food. See how you go, stay motivated with studying. Drink a lot of caffeine and see if it interferes with your sleep, and then your studying is compromised. And maybe you don't care. Okay. But other people do care. They want to make the most of their life with the life skills they can learn. And so you might be working for them one day. They're going to be your boss. And they may not be working as hard as you, but they're going to be making a lot more money. And you might be saying, gosh, life is unfair. No, you didn't use the proper care and nutrition for your brain. So, exercise is key, and good sleep is key, and then quality social interaction. So, a lot of learning is social. During COVID, people who didn't understand how the brain works said, oh, we'll just do all this learning online. And students will learn great just by staring at screens for 8 hours a day. It's a great idea. And what happened was very little learning happened. Teachers, some of them gave up on even giving tests. They just passed students along to the next grade. And then after COVID, there was a mad scramble for in-person learning. Counseling can sometimes fail because it's online. A lot of learning is social. When you're in the same room with the person, you can hear their voice, you can see them, they can see all your body language. 90% of communication is body language. You're getting a different experience than just, well, doing what you're doing right now, looking at a screen. And so if your grades are suffering, ask, well, can I get a tutor? Can I talk to the teacher? Colleges are now encouraging, in some programs, getting a mentor. It's not enough to have a teacher and a tutor and friends helping you, but someone who's graduated, who's working in the field that you enjoy, and they can, in a sense, befriend you, and you can look up to them, and they can, tell you how things are in that world after school. Same thing happens if you're an apprentice or journeyman as a plumber or an HVAC or many of the trades. There's going to be a mentor you can look up to, ask questions, learn from. And now your learning is set to go on a steep learning curve. So why? Well, maybe because you listened to this video and you learned from me and my experience spending 26 years in school. God, don't do that. So, well, this is wrapping up video 4. I've reviewed dozens of different ways you can boost your learning. If these don't seem to be helping, then that might be reason to talk with a psychiatrist, someone who can understand how the brain works from a biological, psychological, and social perspective, especially as it pertains to learning. With learning, it sets the trajectory for the rest of your life. So, hope you've enjoyed these videos, and there'll be more to come. Take care.